Well, a fresh Newspoll has dropped in The Australian this evening. It reveals almost 2/3 of Australians want fewer immigrants coming into the country. And when broken down by voting preference, almost 50% of Labor voters also think there should be fewer immigrants. Right, I'm joined now by radio legend Ray Hadley, as always on a Monday. Great to see you.
Sharri, it comes as no surprise to me, that poll, the Newspoll in The Australian, published online tonight, because everyone I talk to talks about the lack of housing, the lack of infrastructure, and we just keep dragging people into the country.
Yeah.
After the war, we needed immigrants, and before the war, we needed them as well. We needed people here to work and prosper. But at the moment, we don't need any more people. I mean, we really don't. And the Labor government and Mr Albanese and Mr Burke are on steroids in relation to bringing people here. And I don't know when it's going to stop. They keep saying, oh, no, we're going to reduce it and reduce it and reduce it. But we sit here, you know, with bated breath waiting for it to be reduced. It never seems to be reduced.
Not in any meaningful way, that's for sure.
And if half the Labor voters, and that's what they are, say there's too many immigrants, well, maybe Anthony Albanese, if he's not going to listen to me or you or people from the Conservative side of politics, maybe he should be listening to his voters.
But it's also one of the issues the Coalition should be picking up on. I mean, they should really pick a few key topics and just ram those messages home.
I've got an idea about the 15 moderates who don't agree with the Nationals' position.
Yeah.
Why don't you form a party called Labor Light and go? Finish. Because see how you go at the electorate calling yourself Labor Light, because that's what you are. That's what you are. The Nationals showed a ton of courage doing what they did yesterday, and Susan Lee is still vacillating from one position to the other, and immigration would be a great topic. Energy would be another topic, but when you've got them fighting about net zero, and she's been there since May, and we're into November, and we still don't have a position from the alternate government about power.
There's basically no positions from the alternate government. I mean, the only thing they talk about is themselves. They don't talk about other topics.
Look, I think Dave Sharma's a pretty smart fella. In fact, I think he's a really smart fella.
Very
but
smart.
This nonsense about we'll separate from the Nationals. Well, if that happens, Dave, you'll be in opposition until 2150.
Did he say that?
Yeah, there was a suggestion this afternoon that, if this keeps going, we'll have to look at, maybe splitting the coalition. I mean, really? I mean, it just seems quite ridiculous. The only hope they have of beating Labor is as a coalition. That's the only hope they have.
They barely have that hope, even if they are united.
Yeah.
But I think there is a clear middle ground. I don't know why they can't work it out, but the clear middle ground is retaining an aspiration to lower emissions, but dumping, certainly the legislation, which was never agreed to in the position, and then dumping the official target, which isn't going to be met by 2050 anyway. I mean, that's not that difficult for all sides to agree to that.
The only person on the planet that thinks it'll be met is Casanova Bowen. He's the only person who thinks it's going to... Not even Anthony Albanese thinks it's going to be met.
Yeah.
And most of his party,
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Ray, you were very fired up about this greyhound racing ban in Tasmania.
Well, I'll tell you why. 9 years ago, I fought ferociously when Mike Baird banned greyhound racing in New South Wales. Now, the reason I fought ferociously, I started my career in the late 1970s, early 80s, calling the dogs Bulli, App and Nowra. And so I have a great affinity. They gave me a start, and I have a great affinity with greyhound racing. So we fought tenaciously for that ban to be overturned, and it was. They lost the Orange by-election. Phil Donato beat the national contenders, and it had been a national seat forever. And Mike Baird lost his premiership over this insanity of banning greyhound racing. So I'm more concerned about how it happened in Tasmania. So we've got 35 seats in the lower house, 14 Liberal, 10 Labor, 5 Green, 5 crossbench, 1 shooter. So no one can govern after the election. So Jeremy Rockcliffe must have done a deal with the Greens. They've been trying to get rid of greyhound racing for 15 years. All of a sudden, he gets the support of the crossbenchers and the Greens and says, I'm banning greyhound racing.
Doesn't take it to the election.
It's his Mike Baird moment, and he's going to do it before the next election in 2029. Now, I'd say, I mean, Tasmania is not really something that we talk about in mainstream media, the politics, I mean. Wonderful state, fantastic state. But I'm saying to all the people in Tasmania, this is the thin edge of the wedge. Because once you give these people what they want in relation to greyhound racing, next it'll be thoroughbred racing and standardbred racing, because they want it all gone. They want any sport that involves animals banned. And Jeremy Rockliff, when you have a Conservative leader, not that he's Conservative, he's probably woke Conservative, kowtowing to the Greens to claim the premiership, you have a monumental problem. If Conservatives start voting with the Greens, we're all gone. And that's what's happened in Tasmania. And Luke Foley, the Labor opposition leader, fought with me side by side, and eventually Baird went.
Extraordinary.
And so where's the Labor Party on this?
And it was off the back of an ABC Four Corners report, why it was introduced in the first place.
And the bottom line is, yes, every sport involves people who shouldn't be in the sport, including greyhound racing. New South Wales has done a great job to get rid of those type of people. I'm sure if there's those type of people in Tasmania, we can get rid of them as well. But to ban the entire sport, I mean, and it's a working class sport. You know, it's not elite. It's, you know, battlers and people from the working class, you know, training greyhound and loving greyhounds and, you know, rehoming them as pets and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, the most serious thing about this is to claim the premiership. Jeremy Rockliff in Tasmania got in bed with the Greens, and he should be absolutely ashamed of himself. Absolutely ashamed. And you people in Tasmania watching this, you fight tooth and nail. And you Labor people down there, there are, of course, 10 of you there in the Parliament. Ring Luke Foley, a Labor leader in New South Wales, who was ferocious in defending the working class people involved in greyhound racing.
Yeah.
It's gone in the ACT, it's gone in New Zealand apparently, and as I say, the thin edge of the wedge, because what they'll do eventually is they'll attack horse racing and standardbred racing, trotting as well.
Just finally, very fiery Senate estimates this morning, quite explosive revelations where the Optus executives have admitted there was a 17-hour delay in them actually telling the government about the deaths because of this O outage. We might just have a look at that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's play that grab if we've got it.
So you made sure the board knew, but you didn't call the minister or the regulator.
It is normal process in an organisation such as Optus to ensure the board is fully informed of what I know at the time.
Has there been any contact back from the families?
Once again, Senator, the privacy of the families is paramount here.
Yeah,
These are
Mr. Rudd,
we understand
that, but there is a direct question as to whether
you need to answer that question.
Have you not?
I've reached out to the families through the
No,
authorities.
that's not my question, Mr. Rudd. Please do not duck and weave.
Yeah, very little accountability here, Ray.
Well, I think there'll be some accountability. Mr. Roo, who of course led the NBN prior to being appointed back in November last year to this position, CEO of Optus, is a bit of a poison chalice, really, because his predecessor went west as well.
Kelly Bayer Rosemary.
But they've said quite clearly today that people will be moved on in the process. I question Gladys Berejiklian, who has this titular position inside Optus after being the Premier of New South Wales. What does exactly she do? What does she do? I mean, it's all well and good to give a Premier a high-paid and powerful position inside of Optus, but she was there through the other one and she's there now. I just wonder what she does there. I mean, whether she just meets people occasionally and talks about business. I've got no idea. But Roo will stay because he's got the support of the board. That's often a bad thing to have, the support of the board, but he'll stay. But I'm sure some of the underlings will be sent packing.
Yeah, I mean, just awful, the whole thing. There were these outages and it caused deaths because people couldn't get in touch with O, the most basic requirement. We're out of time.
We are, as always. I'll be back next week.
So, wait, I've got to congratulate you and your new grandchild.
Oh, Indy, little Indy. Yes,
I wish we had a photograph.
Well,
forgot about this.
Well, number 8, little Indy, my youngest daughter Sarah and her husband Jack. Last Tuesday, in fact, little Indy arrived, and they honoured me. Her middle name is Ray. And so when I wrote back to my daughter and said, "Oh, that's lovely, R-A-E," she said, "No, Dad, it's R-A-Y, like your name."
Oh, that's beautiful.
So she was, all the ladies want to know, she was, I don't know how long she was, but she was about 3.4 kgs.
Yep.
And the people up at the Sand Hospital in Wahroonga, the midwives and all the people I met subsequently, fantastic. Sarah's at home now with little Tommy, her 3.5-year-old, and we've had a tough year as a family because of little Lola, who's still having treatment, of course, for leukaemia, but everyone in the family was absolutely overjoyed at the birth of little Indy.
Well, huge congratulations.
Thank you, darling. It's very kind of you
thing.
to do that. I appreciate it.